All right, let's talk about something huge. We're going on the inventor's journey. You know, that path from a brilliant idea just popping into your head to turning it into something real, something valuable, and maybe most importantly, something legally protected.
I mean, come on, you've had one, right? That light bulb moment. Maybe it's an idea for a gadget, or just a way better way to do something. That little voice in your head goes, whoa, this could be huge. But what's next? What do you do with it?
And that right there, that's the big question, isn't it? What's the difference between just an idea and a valuable, protected invention? Well, it really boils down to a two-part journey. First, you've got to prove your idea is actually original. That means research. And second, you've got to shield it, with the right legal tools. So let's get into it.
Okay, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with what engineering research actually is. Then, we'll cover the rules of the road, the ethics. After that, we dive into protecting your intellectual property, look at the actual toolkit for that, and wrap up by seeing why this stuff is so important. Okay, so let's start right at square one. Before you can even think about protecting an idea, you've got to show that it's a real, original contribution. And that, my friends, all begins with research.
And here's a really important thing to get straight. Research isn't just Googling stuff and writing a summary. No, it's an active process. It's about creation. You're not just gathering info that already exists. You're trying to create brand new knowledge. It's like you're adding your own unique piece to this gigantic puzzle of what we know as a species.
And this whole process, it's not random. It's like a funnel. Great research, great inventions, they almost always go from super broad to super specific. So you might start out interested in a massive area, like, say, control systems. Then you narrow it down, maybe to controlling microbial fuel cells. And you keep narrowing until, bam, you land on a really specific, solvable problem. That's the journey. That's how a general curiosity turns into a real, focused project. Okay, so you've got your problem, but you can't just go wild. There are rules. Think of it like driving. There are rules of the road for research, too. And they're there for a good reason, to keep everything credible and make sure everyone's playing fair.
And not all research is the same. There are kind of two main flavors. You've got fundamental research, which is all about curiosity. It's asking the big why questions just to expand what we know. Then there's applied research. This is much more common in engineering. It's about taking a very specific, practical problem and trying to solve it. Your invention? It's almost certainly going to be on one of these two tracks.
Now, let's talk about the big one, the absolute #1 do not break rule, plagiarism. And listen, this is way more than just copy-pasting text. It's taking anything from someone else, their ideas, their data, their words, and pretending it's your own. Honestly, it's like the cardinal sin of research. It just shatters the trust that the whole system is built on.
So, how do you steer clear of this? Simple. You use other people's work, but you do it ethically. You can paraphrase, which is just putting their idea into your own words. You can summarize, just hitting the main points. You can quote directly if you use quotation marks. But the golden rule through all of this, you have to cite your source, always. Giving credit isn't just about avoiding trouble. It's about showing respect for the conversation you're now a part of.
Okay. So you've put in the work, you did the research, you've proved your idea's fresh, it's new, it's valuable. So now what? Well, now we get to part 2 of the journey. And this is a big one, making sure nobody can just take it from you. This brings us to something called intellectual property, or IP for short. And it's a really cool concept when you think about it. If you own a house, you own a physical thing, right? Bricks, mortar, land. But with IP, you own something you can't touch. You own the idea itself. It's not the car, but the unique design of the engine. It's not the bottle of soda, but the secret recipe inside it. It protects the creation of your mind. And believe it or not, this idea of protecting ideas is not new. In India, for instance, the first Patent Act dates all the way back to 1856. Of course, it's evolved a lot since then. The really big changes that created the modern system happened in 1970 and then again in the 90s and 2005 to get in sync with the rest of the world. All that history is why we have such a robust set of tools to work with today.
So the big question, how do you actually do it? How do you protect your idea? Well, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing.
It's about picking the right tool for the job. So let's go ahead and open up the IP Protection Toolkit.
I love this analogy. Think about a toolkit, a real one. You wouldn't use a sledgehammer to fix a watch, right? It's the same idea here. The shield you use to protect, say, a song is totally different from the one you'd use to protect a new kind of battery. You've got to match the tool to the creation. So let's start with the big three. First up, patents. This is for your inventions, your gadgets, your new processes. The key is it has to be genuinely new and it protects you for 20 years. Next, copyrights. This is for creative stuff. Books, music, photos, even software code. All it needs is to be original and it lasts a long time. The author's lifetime plus another 60 years in India. And finally, trademarks. This is all about your brand. Your logo, your company name, a slogan. As long as it's distinctive and you keep using it, you can renew it pretty much forever.
But hey, the toolkit has more than just 3 tools. There are others. An industrial design protects the unique look and feel of a product. A geographical indication, or GI, is for things famous for coming from one specific place. Think Darjeeling tea or champagne. And then there are trade secrets. This is for the stuff you want to keep under lock and key forever, like the formula for Coca-Cola. It's a surprisingly deep toolbox.
Okay, I get it. This can all sound a little abstract, a little legalese. So why does any of this really matter? I'll tell you why. Because in the real world, we're talking about fortunes. We're talking about entire industries being built or destroyed based on who owns an idea.
Let's make this real. Case in point, the turmeric patent. Back in 1995, 2 researchers in the US were granted a patent for using turmeric to heal wounds. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, anyone from India knows this isn't a new invention. It's ancient, traditional knowledge passed down for centuries. This is basically an attempt to own and profit from public heritage.
And this is where knowing the rules of the game becomes your superpower. India's Research Council fought back. They challenged the patent. And their proof? They literally presented ancient Sanskrit text that described this exact use of turmeric. This is what the law calls prior art, proof that the invention already existed. The US Patent Office had no choice but to revoke the patent. It's an amazing example of how knowing IP law can protect a whole nation's history. All right, now for a more modern battle, a battle of giants, Apple versus Samsung. And this one is fascinating because it wasn't about a secret chip or some clever software. No. Apple sued Samsung for copying the look of the iPhone, the design. We're talking its rectangular shape with rounded corners, the bezel, the grid of icons on the screen. It was all about the phone's industrial design. So, what happened? After years of fighting it out in court, how much was that look worth? Well, Samsung was ordered to pay Apple $539 million. Just let that sink in. Over $500 million. That single number tells you everything you need to know about how insanely valuable protecting the appearance of your product can be. And that brings everything full circle, right back to you and your ideas. Look, the path from a light bulb moment to a protected asset. Yeah, it's complex, but it's not some impossible mystery. It's a process. It takes solid research and a smart game plan. Your ideas, they have real, tangible value. They have the power to shape the world. So the only question left is, how are you going to protect them?